Florida. Key facts. Abbreviation FL. Nickname the Sunshine State. Capital Tallahassee. Flower orange blossom. Tree sable palm. Bird northern mockingbird. Pie key lime pie. Motto in God we trust. The Spanish conquistador Juan Ponce de Leon landed on the shores of the tropical peninsula that forms the southernmost part of the Northern American landmass in April 1513 during the festival of Pascua Florida, or Flowery Easter, and thus the 22nd largest state of the Union was christened. The year-round sunshine that gives Florida the nickname that adorns its license plates, its thousands and thousands of miles of coastline, the Disney resorts and other family-friendly attractions of Orlando, the Latin vibrancy and cosmopolitan chic of Miami, and the tropical beauty of the Keys have caused Florida to be one of the most visited states in America, certainly one of the most visited by Britons. I participate, just like any one of those hundreds of thousands of British tourists, in two of the most popular activities available in Florida. Swimming with dolphins. First, appoint the taxis north to the south of Miami and travel down the famous U.S. Highway 1, which takes me to the resort of Key Largo. The Keys are long, low islands at the very south of Florida, drops of sea that fall from the tip of this most phallic of states. The last one in the line, Key West, is only 30 or 40 miles from Cuba, for this is America's Caribbean. Key Largo was made famous in the 40s by John Huston's movie of the same name, but is now a destination for those who want, amongst other things, to swim with dolphins. Although the sheer pleasure of sharing the water with these amiable mammals is reason enough to do it, there has over recent years grown up the practice of dolphin therapy. I am due to swim with a boy, Kyle Crouch, who lives with cerebral palsy and has begun to swim with bottlenose dolphins in Key Largo since he was 10 years old. A young therapist called Eli has been swimming with him and supervising the sessions, and it is clear that they both believe that the experience has been wholly beneficial. Kyle's mother agrees. Maybe it is the sheer exhilaration of being towed, nosed, tickled, slapped, prodded, swiped and barged by these boisterous, squeaking, clicking creatures. Maybe that is therapy enough, coupled with the muscular toning resulting from active time in the sea water. I certainly feel entirely enchanted and emerge glowing with pianetto and a sense of one of the nature's highest privileges having been bestowed upon me. Upon the man's fascination with the higher mammals, great apes, whales, and dolphins, when in their presence it is as if we are communing with royalty of Hollywood stars. A great grin spreads over our faces. Eye contact or attention causes our hearts to beat a little faster at the honor of having been noticed by such supreme beings. A shame that, given this, we can't seem to share the planet with them. There won't be many species of whale and gorilla left by 2020. Perhaps the dolphins are safe so long as they continue to play. Dolphins, says Eli, they got this instinct where they only approach those in the water who are the most nervous. They always seem to pay attention to the most vulnerable and the most wounded physically or emotionally. You'll see them gently prod these people into play. But confident people, self-satisfied people, fit people, confident people, they will leave alone. I do not know whether to be flattered or insulted by the dolphins' very clear attentions to me. Everglades Airboat. The second sine qua non on the Miami Tourist Trail is the airboat trip around the Everglades. I drive back up from Key Largo towards this enormous national park, more than 2,000 square miles in size, a limitless marshland of sawgrass, sedge, mangrove, cypress, hammock, and pine. Flat as a billiard table, the first impression as you drive through is of rich, fertile green fields, until you catch the dark glint of reflection where land should be, and you are finally convinced that the entire landscape is under water. There is only one feasible way to move across it, by airboat. Of all the freakish modes of transportation I have ever experienced, the airboat must be the noisiest and the most eco-dreadful. A caged airplane engine propeller hurtles one across the surface of the Everglades, skimming at great speed, belching exhaust fumes and snarling with a high decibel din that one would imagine was guaranteed to send every species of animal running for cover. But animals can get used to anything, even the noxious roar of a Mad Max airboat. They appear to be the preserve of aging hippies like Jesse, my driver, who enjoy freaking one out with tales of alligators leaping into boats and pulling humans into the water. Jesse has a baby alligator back at his base. He passes it over to me. Go on there, he won't hurt you. Strange how the young of such warty and frightening creatures can be so adorable. Sometimes the cheesiest, most cliché touristic activity can be entirely satisfactory. So it was on the Everglades. South Beach. The following day I spent exploring South Beach, the southern part of the finger of separated land that runs down the coast of Miami. 15 or so years ago, the area was a desolate ruin. Chris Blackwell, founder of Island Records, undertook with others the restoration of the string of pastel-colored decor hotels that are now the glory of this most fashionable part of the whole city. On this same frontage, Ocean Drive stands the large square Roman-style house Casa Casuarina, on whose steps Gianni Versace was shot and killed in 1997. Signs of Christmas remind me that despite all evidence of the contrary, we are in deep midwinter. I walk up towards the Lincoln Theatre, an Art Deco cream and terracotta jewel of a movie house, now the home of the New World Symphony Orchestra. Their percussion consort is practicing the eccentric and exciting ballet mécanique, a wild, futuristic, dadaist percussion piece by George Antheil, involving doorbells and airplane propellers, not unlike those that power the airboats of the Everglades. In its first performance in Paris, the propellers blew wings and heads off the heads of audience members. I sit in on the rehearsal, pleased to think that in a metropolis whose nightclubs echo with the tedious bump of salsa, funk, mambo, and soft rock, there is also room for the wildest shores of experimental modernism, albeit a modernism that is now well over 80 years old. The Snowbirds. The evening is to expose me to music again, music and so much more. For generations, the warm winter of Miami have attracted temporary visitors of a certain age, especially Jewish couples from New Jersey and New York. These winter visitors are called snowbirds and have made Palm Beach and the surrounding environs north of Miami almost entirely their own, creating enormous gated communities which contain their own shops, cinemas, beauty parlors, pools, synagogues, and theaters. In the theaters, the community's paid entertainment officers arrange special dance evenings, and it is to one of these that I have been invited tonight. A gated snowbird world is like a cruise ship stuck on land. The same posted lists of things to do, the same excited clusters of guests checking dates, times and dress codes, with the entertainment officers. I have come because tonight is dance night is one of the theaters, and I am to witness Snowbird World close up. I talked to a group of professional male dancers. The youngest of them will not see 50 again, but to the more man-hungry dancing ladies of the community, there are toy boys to be hooked and swung around the floor until they drop. The rapacity and dance mania of some of the women, and I am told, must be seen to be believed. Sometimes we get home with torn jackets and pants, says one of them, Morris. As one who loathes dancing with a loathing so deep, so entire, so fundamental that the very prospect of swinging a shoe causes me to come out in a trembling sweat of fury, fear, and distress. The prospect of being grabbed by one of these dance-mad hybrids fills me with horror, and I determine to hide behind our film camera for the evening. So dirty, dreadful, and glitzily, vulgarly charming is the whole evening, however, that I am tempted to the floor, almost to the point of moving my body more or less to music. A little old man called Marvin is so charming in his sparkly hat and his delightful water green that I cannot resist chatting to him. "Did you ever see such pretty ladies?" he asks excitedly. "Pretty ladies everywhere." "And you've got the prettiest," I said, gallantly bowing to the woman on his arm, who giggles and snuggles further into him. "We've been together 20 years, Marvin tells me. "Married?" "No, we are a dance team. My wife passed 8 years ago. Her husband passed 7 years ago. They call us M&M. Marvin and..." She speaks for the first time. "Muriel." "Marvin and Muriel. Ain't she a princess, though?" "Certainly. May I ask how old you are, Marvin?" "Sure you can ask. It's a free country despite that schmuck in the White House." "So how old are you?" 90 years young. Muriel, only a foot taller than him, nudges him, and they spin off into the crowd of 700 other dancing couples. It is a strange world, and one I would commit suicide to avoid being a part of, but they all seemed very happy. As soon as it is decent to do so, I tiptoe away. Away, the triumphant snarl of "if my friends could see me now" from sweet charity getting fainter and fainter until I reach the safety of the taxi. The next morning I stand on the rocks of the beach and bid farewell to Florida. I have traveled down the East Coast as far south as I can, and now I must point myself west across the Gulf to Louisiana.